I'm Daniel Wilson, founder and CEO of XRI Global. We're a company that enables speakers of every language to flourish through the development and deployment of AI. I'm really interested to be here because I think that this moment represents a massive opportunity for the world, and it deserves to be thought of very critically and carefully, taking into account the kind of world that we want to live in the future. If you think about AI, it's essentially a force multiplier of anything you're trying to get done. What you think about God, theology, ethics, all of these things really matter, because everything that you're trying to get done, everything that you believe is going to have a multiplied effect when we consider what AI models are capable of now, and also taking into account that today it's the worst that they'll ever be. So they're increasing in capabilities at rapid speeds. And so we've got to think very carefully about who we are and what we're trying to get done, and make sure that we're building the world that we want to live in. I'm optimistic about this group because there's obviously a lot of brilliant minds that are coming together that are all also humble about the moment that we're living in, not coming in as experts who understand everything that's happening, but as those who know how to ask good questions, and who are humble enough to think about this carefully, who are also deeply rooted in faith, and who are deeply rooted in a lot of history as well. So as we think about the future that we're trying to build, being deeply rooted in what it means to be human, what it means to be created in the image of God, and ultimately our history, I think, is very, very important. You know, there's been a lot of talk about regulation and the role of regulation in AI. Regulation doesn't really belong at the technology layer as much as it does the use case. It's like what we're choosing to deploy into the world for what purposes. I think that's probably the relevant space for regulation. And I would say the same thing for an oath. Choosing what we deploy and getting the deployers of the world, the decision makers in public sector and private sector, binding themselves to a commitment to do good and recognize that AI as a force multiplier can greatly amplify who we are. And so we want to make sure that who we are is who we want to be, and will help us shape the world in a positive direction. We make decisions every day as a company on what contracts we do and what we don't do. And we've said no to many because they weren't the future we were trying to create, even though they would have been great opportunity for us as a company. And we've said yes to things that have lost us money because it is precisely the future that we want to see, right? And so I think right now we're already operating according to a rooted code, right, that's based in our at least my theology, right? As a person, I'm the CEO, right? I can decide what we do and what we don't do. And because I'm a man of faith, right, I'm guided by that, and that helps inform what I do and don't do, and what I don't use my company to do. I think that's what we need to see more of. And I think helping give people the language to use and make it almost instinctive that we're thinking as leaders in public, private, civil service, etc., instinctively, no, I won't do that, obviously, because it violates the thing I'm trying to do ultimately. And I'm not fundamentally driven by profit. I'm not fundamentally driven by this or that ideology, right? But ultimately, I recognize and am humbled by the pace at which all of this is going. I have an opportunity to do good at scale. And so how do we think that way? You know, is if this is a force multiplier, how do we do good at scale? That's the question that we're asking.